Good morning, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library, coming to you here on a Friday morning, getting ready to head to school, but I wanted to get a video in before I left. This is going to be my Friday reads for this week, and 2 weeks in a row on a Friday. That's pretty good for me. As you well know, if you follow the channel, I sometimes have troubles getting my Friday read in on a Friday. I sometimes get those in on Saturday, Sunday, sometimes Monday, but I've been trying to get them done at least once a week. So here's another on-time Friday reads. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about how the week's been going and how my reading's been going. So last weekend I got a book finished. As you guys well know, if you follow the channel, you saw my book review on Faith and Betrayal. And that was an interesting book. I really liked that. It was about a woman who was a pioneer heading out west. She was of the Mormon faith, or at least started in the Mormon faith, and went to Salt Lake City to start a new life. And as you read the book, you quickly find out that life wasn't exactly what she was expecting. The Mormon faith worked for some and not others, and a lot of times in the Mormon faith, the women's stories were not heard. And so the author, who was I believe was the great-granddaughter, maybe the great-great-granddaughter, I believe great-granddaughter. Anyway, she wanted to tell the story of her great-grandma and get her word out there so everybody would know that story. And I felt when I reviewed it that she did a pretty good job of doing that. It's a real short novel, but I enjoyed reading it, and so I did that last week. And I started my new read right at the moment is this book, Crown of Blood. All right, and it's the Deadly Inheritance of Lady Jane Grey by Nicola Tallis. And this is a really good book. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on the British royals, and that's probably my biggest downfall right at the moment. So this morning I went to, I took a picture of, at the beginning of the book, it's got some family trees, and I took a couple pictures of that with my phone. And so when I go to school, I think I'm going to print off that family tree, and I think, first of all, I can use it in class when I'm teaching this, and then second of all, I'm going to lay it out on the table as I'm reading about this so I can kind of follow along with who she's talking about. The author does a very good job of telling the story of the royal family and what happened with Lady Jane Grey, who was, of course, a cousin to Henry VIII, and a cousin to, or let's see, yeah, cousin to Henry VIII and his son Edward VI, I believe. And it's just telling her unfortunate story of, being a young lady and how sometimes women's plans never went as they wanted. It was what everybody else wanted, and she's in line to, she has a claim to the throne, and it's telling about that story. And I've gotten about a third of the way through the book. My reading hasn't been, I've been trying to read every morning, but my mind's been preoccupied. We've been doing History Day projects at school, and I got 48 projects going at school, and here in a week and a half or so, we've got to go to our district competition with our projects. And so I've been flooded with stuff from History Day. My mind's just been preoccupied. So reading hasn't been, I might not have gotten done exactly what I needed to get done. I can give you an example. 2 nights ago, I should have been reading. My wife and my daughters went to St. Joe to get haircuts, and they didn't get home till like 10:30 at night. So I got home from school about 5:30, and I had 4 or 5 hours there where I could have read the entire night, and I could almost be done with this book. But instead, I was so exhausted and tired. This whole week's been exhausting, and I was so exhausted and tired. I came home and sat down on the couch, and I binge watched the show Longmire. I really like Longmire, and I binge watched out of the first season of Longmire and didn't get a whole lot of reading done. I did a little bit, but it wasn't much at all. And so that's kind of hurt my number of pages that I've gotten done, but that's okay. I'm still working on this. I could get it done this weekend. I think Sunday, Monday, right in there. I should be able to get it done if I read at the pace I normally read. But it is a really good book. I've enjoyed it. Also this week, I've been reading in my American History magazine, and I've been just doing an article here and there, and I got about half the magazine read. This morning I finished up an article that I'd started the other night that I fell asleep to. It's why I don't read in bed. But the big article for the magazine is on John Smith, and so I've been reading that article in the evening, and then I finished it. Like I said, I finished it this morning, and it was interesting. It was all right. I mean, honestly, it wasn't anything special, just because it's basically an overall basic history of his life. It was good. It was well written. Just it wasn't anything new that I didn't know before. A lot of the stuff was the stuff that we have in our textbook at school. Just they expanded a little bit of the story. It was interesting for a kid who didn't know anything about John Smith. This would probably be something I would recommend for them to read. But it was good. I also read a story on a family who immigrated over and got into the cotton business. Here's another one that was talking about a court case and let's see, what was it? A court case and based on yellow journalism and stuff that you can and can't print. Another one on, what's this gal's name? Frederica Mandelbaum, who I'd never heard of. And she was an immigrant who come over and made well for herself doing illegal activities, and kind of thumbed her nose at the authorities. There was another one on athletes oppression by Richard Brookhiser that was talking about athletes such as Jesse Owens, who went through some trying times, like in the '36 Olympics. Black pioneers that went out, did some good things for African Americans. But anyway, several different articles in the magazine. I'm about halfway through, and getting ready to. There's two more big articles, I think, if I got that right. Two more big articles, and then there's some book reviews. I like looking at the book reviews, but that's a good magazine. If you want a magazine to subscribe to, this would be a good one. American History Magazine. You can get it at historynet.com. And they've actually got several different magazines at historynet.com. Let's see if I can find the ad here. It's usually at the very beginning or the very end. And of course, I'm not going to find it quickly. Oh, there it is. So they've got several different areas of history that it covers. So I would recommend that. And then based on the recommendation of a fellow booktuber, I went and ordered the free copy of Liberty Fund Books. It's just a book catalog with various titles in it. And, I page marked several American history and political history books that I think would probably be interesting. The first part of the book did not interest me. It was on economic stuff, like heavy economic stuff, and that's just, it's not in my wheelhouse. My eyes probably glaze over a little bit on it, just being honest. It's not something that I really get into. It's interesting how economics affects stuff, but I don't understand the details of economics. So I do apologize to those of you that do. It's one of those things, just not for me. But I did like some of the stuff on political thought and the early American Revolution and some history stuff. So this is an interesting book catalog. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I would go out there and get this. And then they, as it was pointed out on Peg's channel over at the History Shelf, you get a free discount, 20% discount on the books. And the books aren't bad price. Anywhere from like $12 to, there are some like $40 books, but most of them are fairly, in the teens and 20s as far as cost goes. So anyway, like I said, my plans for this week. I'm going to finish this weekend, hopefully. And then later next week, what I plan on picking up in reading, because my 8th grade class, we're a little behind on stuff, but we're doing a short unit on the Constitution, and I plan on reading this book that I'd had out earlier, coming back and reading The Return of George Washington by Edward Larson, and showing the impact that Washington had on that. I'm either going to read that, which I think that is what I'm going to read, but if I don't, excuse me, if I don't read that, I want to start on the impending crisis, 1848 to 1861. I've been wanting to read David Potter's book for a long time, and I've just put it off. My biggest problem is these next 3 months are my busiest time of the year. We've got our History Day competition in the middle of the month. That same week, my track program starts at school, so we start track practice, and then at the end of April, not only do I have all my track meets within a 2.5-week span for my middle school track, but then on top of that, not only do I have track practice, track meets, then our baseball program starts, and so I've got double sports, and I'm trying to get my grades in at school at the same time, and life becomes very, very hectic for teachers in the months of, you know, the end of March and April, May especially, or yeah, April, May. So anyway, that is my Friday reads for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to comment down below, and if you like the video, please click that little button down below, and like it, subscribe, share it, and keep on reading, BookTube. Have a great day.